Hey folks, welcome back to another comparison video with yours truly, Sam Healey. Today we're taking a look at the old version of The Arrival and the new version of The Arrival put out by Cryptozoic, still designed by Martin Wallace. So basically what I'm going to do in this video is just give you a rundown of the differences between the old and the new. And also going to showcase some of the new things that come in here that weren't in here near the end of that comparison portion of the video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get down to the table and get to it. So as we're getting into the comparison of these two versions of the same game, we want to first of all take a look at the rule book, and you can tell that first of all there is a definite difference here. This rule book is first of all larger, and it looks like the font is going to be probably a little bit larger over here, different graphic design, and so forth and so on. So far so good. If you go ahead and just take a look at these, open them up and whatnot, you kind of see that you get the idea. All of the illustrations on this one are smaller. Over here, they're larger, so you can more easily pick out what they're trying to denote, and so forth and so on. Even the, the board has a little bit of a same size there, but we'll look at the boards in a little bit, but you can see the difference in the brightness of one over the other as well. So there is that. If we continue looking through this, looks like it is pretty much a page-for-page reprint, but they have rearranged some of the things in different orders. I suppose because it flows better. I guess they thought it would flow better in teaching the game and so forth and so on. But there is an advanced game, we'll get to that in just a few moments, that is absent in the original book. So just be aware of that. All of the illustrations are larger, easier to read, a dark background with a lighter colored font on one, lighter color background with a darker font on the other. I don't know how that's gonna hit with other people, but you kind of get the idea. I do also like the color differentiation as they're talking about the different phases. You have earning phase here, action phase here, different backgrounds, so forth and so on. So you get the idea. It is pretty much a straight up just reprint of one or the other, but you still have the same information just presented in a little bit of a different way. And then on the back, you also have the same information here as far as the different kinds of tactic tiles and what they do and all that good stuff. Moving on to the board, you see that this is the actual old board. We have the corruption track that is down here in the bottom right-hand side of the board, and then the honor track goes around the outside here. Then you have the turn markers that are going right here as well, and then all of the different provinces and so forth and so on. If we lay the new board on top of that, you see that it is exactly the same size as far as dimensions are concerned, but you can definitely tell how much brighter the board is. There's a little bit of a comparison there than the older one. So I do like that about it. Some of the illustrations on the board are a bit better as well. These are a bit dark. These stand out a little bit better. So I like that. The choice of font I like on the new one as well. That's just a graphic design touch that I think they did a lot better. This one is very stark, very Roman-esque, I guess you could say, and this is a little bit more, I don't know, it just has that Irish feel to it, maybe, I guess. I don't know. Probably going to get torn up about that remark. But anyway, here we go. Down here in the bottom of the map is where the round marker is now. And the corruption track is actually up here at the top. The honor track is still around the outside of the board. I like that the iconography matches here, where you're getting fame points for controlling these different provinces, so forth and so on, the number of shields that are there. I like that. The ports are well marked as well. This is a definite upgrade, in my opinion, from the old And this represents the difference in the Fomori tokens, the bad guys that are going to be spreading throughout the island of Ireland. And as you can see, they basically made the initial design choice to go from squares to triangles, which is a intuitive change because you only had 3 pieces of information on the tile anyway, so that almost automatically should have been a triangle because then you don't have this blank corner up here with nothing in there. But I do like the graphic design choice. The other side is rather stark as well. I like the fact that this just has a better design on it than that one. Other ones here, you have the same kind of monsters being represented on both ones. Some of the other components, these are the actual building discs that are used within the game. And in the old version, they used actual wooden discs for their building discs, but these are actually cardboard punch-outs. So if you look at these, by just that right there, it's easier to tell if 2 are stacked up on one than there is the other. Now, I know that this is kind of a bad thing, but if you're looking at these 2 things on a board, you're going to be more easily able to tell that you have 2 with the wooden discs than with the cardboard punch-outs. So while I like the graphic design of the new cardboard punch-outs, I like how they look like houses, and they're more easily discernible as building tokens. I think from a practical standpoint, the wooden discs are better in my opinion. So I think that this is a slight downgrade, and I say slight simply because I like the graphic look of these, but I think these are more functional. Now the shield tokens, this is where they took a huge downgrade for the new shield tokens because these look exactly like, as far as how thin they are, the other player tokens, and these shield tokens are just so cool. This is one of the coolest things that I liked about the original game. These shield tokens are just so flimsy, I guess you could say, while these are so chunky and nice. So I think in this particular case, a definite downgrade from the old version to the new. And then similarly, although not as drastic, you have the sword tokens from the old version and the sword tokens for the new version over here. And the thickness of this cardboard token is much better, much more durable than the new ones, unfortunately. So while this isn't as drastic of a downgrade from the old version, as was the shield tokens, I think this is still a downgrade, although I still like the graphic design of the new tokens. It's just unfortunate that I think that these are a little bit better quality. Here you have represented the different Fomori castles and the blocking discs that come from the old game as compared to the new version of the game. The blocking discs are so similar. They're probably the exact same. They might have even got them from the same company. But then they went back and kept that triangular upgrade, which I think is better in this case. The 3 little marks are on the other side of the tokens here. So this was a positive upgrade, and then a negligible upgrade here too as well. And here I have represented for you the different player aids that come from the new version of the game and the old version of the game, and then also the first player marker for the new version and the old version. This is a definite upgrade from the old, as you only had, first of all, 2 of these cards. There were 2 others, but they were in German. And then you have 1 for each of the players in the new version. The first player token is better in that it gives you more information rather than just bullet points. It gives you, of course, the bullet points, but a little bit better of a description of what's going on and so forth and so on. So this is a definite upgrade. I'd like this much, much better than those. And these represent the different tactic tiles that come in the new version as compared to the old version. And as you can tell, there is a graphic design difference from the old to the new. It's a little bit more crisp. However, the thickness of the tile, again, is what I bring into question here. This one is rather thin. This one is a little bit more chunkier, a little bit thicker. But I think I like the graphic design on this one better than these. Again, it was just kind of a thematically displeasing, so to speak. But as we get other kinds of cards up here, you'll see a little bit clearer that the graphic design choice is just a little bit better. So I think, while I think these are more sturdy and probably a little bit better quality, these are better overall because they have a little bit clearer of a picture on there, and they're not bad. I just like the thickness of these a little bit better, but I like the graphic design choices that were made here, and they are sturdy enough. Additionally, I did take the time to go ahead and take a look to make sure that there were the same amount as was in the older game, and they are exactly the same. So there are no differences between these two sets of tiles except for the graphic design choices that were made. Here we have the two different earning card decks from the old version compared to the new version. And you can see on the back side, it's just a little bit of a crisper design on the new cards as opposed to the old ones. If we flip them over here, you'll see that the design choices are a little bit more stark as well. The numbers on the new cards are a little bit easier to read, and they're of that cooler font, in my opinion at least, than the ones on the old one. So as you can see, these are pretty much all the same as far as how many of each you get in the deck, but you have the better design choice on the newer ones as opposed to the older ones. And as far as I can tell, the distribution of everything has not been changed or anything like that, because most of the other numbers that are in the rulebook haven't changed either, so I don't think that they would change anything in here either. So as you can see, I think overall the newer deck is a upgrade from the old. And here you have a comparison of the old cards for each faction and the new cards that come with the faction. Now, this is where we're actually going to come back to that advanced version of the game that is offered in the new rulebook, and that simply comes in with these new cards because they all have a basic side and an advanced side. And this is where one of the coolest additions to the game comes into play, and that is quite simply the addition of player powers for each of these new characters. So basically, in the advanced version of the game, you have an ability. Each person will have an ability that will give them some kind of leg up. And they're all different. For example, here, archery, the leader can undertake a distant repel action without having to pay 2 honor. So he's shooting from a distance. Diplomacy, the tribe leader can create an outpost with the build action without having to pay 2 honor. So there's all these different kinds of things, and so each player will be able to have their own special ability, which is absolutely absent in the old version of the game. So this is a definite positive upgrade in my opinion, and that's on top of better artistry and graphic design and all of that other kind of stuff as well. Again, it does have a basic size, so you don't have to play with the new special powers, but hey, why wouldn't you? So there you have the differences between the old and the new. I really think that this overall is a better version than the original. There were some things that I liked in the original. Those wooden discs are really hard to give up, but the graphic design choices, the clearer, more crisp artwork, and everything else that has been put into this new version, I think really does make it a good upgrade. Now, if you didn't like the old version, will you like the new? I don't know, probably not, because it looks like it was a straight up reprint with the addition of those special player powers at the end. So unless you really enjoy those variable player powers that will be given at the beginning of the advanced rule set for the new version, you're probably not going to want to pick this one up. However, maybe you've got this old version and you just really like the new look, and that is entirely possible. I mean, when I saw this box cover, I was like, whoa, hey, great. I mean, don't get me wrong, I liked this box cover. I loved the mystery that was there, like, what is this big thing lurking in the mist, and all that kind of stuff. I enjoyed that a lot, but I really like the artwork that's here, and I also like the artwork that's on the inside of the box, on the different components, the graphic design, the font choices. Everything just is a little bit more crisp and a little bit more thematic with the tie-in. The fonts used in this one were just a little bit too general, if I can use that word efficiently. So that's a comparison between the old and the new. Whether you pick up the new one and get rid of your old copy, that's up to you entirely. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to Frankenstein the two of them together to come up with what I like about both of them all together. And then that's what I'll keep, and I'll get rid of the other one. But anyway, thanks for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this comparison video between the old Arrival and the new from Cryptozoic Entertainment. We'll see you guys on the flip side.